has been known to drift off from time to time. He's getting on a bit. Eric has emailed to say that Kundavisha is supporting Kitai because he's a friend, but also he tweeted earlier that he has 5% of Davidi Kitai's action.
That really helps with supporting.
So all about the money, ladies and gentlemen, in case it hasn't worked out by now.
It's still like 40,000 euros.
Kundavisha told me the story about how he got the 5%. They actually swapped about 3 minutes before Koen busted this tournament. Koen had about 5 times as much chips.
Nice life.
Yeah, Koen had about 5 times as many chips as Kitai, but just before the break, Kitai won a couple of pots and Koen chipped down. And then in the break, they were like, well, do you want to swap? And then Koen was like, well, yeah, we can swap now because now our stacks are even. And then right after the break, Koen busted out and Kitai went on to go heads up. So pretty decent result for Koen as well.
I'll be pleased to know, by the way, Remco, that Scott Browner wants to get Poker Dance Off trending on Twitter.
That would be a good achievement tonight to get that going.
I like the 3-bet here with King Jack. It dominates Kitai's opening range.
You talked earlier on, Scott, about momentum, and momentum is certainly with Andrew Chen right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's calling with King 5 here. I mean, he has position, it's suited, but Chen's range of 3-betting him is pretty crushing as King 5. Now they both miss, and when Chen inevitably c-bets here, this should be good enough to take it down. Expect him to bet about 850,000 if I had to throw out a number.
Remco, you think you spotted a sign of frustration when Davidi Kitai lost that last hand?
Yeah.
I mean, is that going to factor in some of his decision-making if he does get frustrated? Is there the danger he starts punting off his stack?
Maybe he's going to want it too bad, and maybe he's going to try to force a decision, and maybe he's going to try to force to win some pots, and that could really factor into play. And I think Chen also saw that Kitai was getting a little bit frustrated, and now he's trying to really start raising a lot more. Well, even though he was raising before already, he's going to try to put as much pressure on as possible up until the point where Kitai starts really playing back at him.
Makes a very small c-bet. And wow, he just calls. I hope he has a plan for the hand and isn't just floating here to think his king high is good.
King on the turn, one time.
But Chen knows at this point that Kitai is floating a lot of the time, so there's a lot of cards here that I think Chen will put in another barrel.
Chant with me, King of Hearts, King of Hearts, King of Hearts, King of Hearts. Oh.
10 of clubs would have been nice as well.
Yeah.
Too bad it's a 4 of spades. Do you think Chen will always keep barreling in this situation?
No. But pretty often he does. I think he looks like he wants to in this spot. He definitely would have rather pick up some sort of Broadway card, a 10 or an ace to a straight draw would have been preferable to keep barreling. A jack is a perfect card to check call with. A king, you probably also see a check from him. It's a real strong play by Chen here. Barreling a second time after being called. And a pretty dry board. If Kitai had a queen or an 8 before, he's certainly not going to be folding now. But it prevents him from having to check fold here, because if he checks and Kitai bets, it's really hard to continue with the king jack.
Kitai's options are becoming limited now.
Yeah,
6.6 million behind.
Right, the bet is it's pretty big. It's really tough for him to make a play right now, because if he wants to make a raise, he's got to put in at least 3 million, which is half of his chip stack. Basically going with it if he puts in a raise, even though obviously he would fold if he put in 3 million and then Chen chipped him. And he calls again.
Wow.
I think he thinks his king high is good. I'm not sure he's setting up a play. It would be interesting if Chen bets the river as a bluff and gets called by a weaker king. Kitai might be thinking Chen could have a hand like 9-10, Jack 10, Jack 9. Maybe picks up some sort of spade draw on the turn.
6 million in the middle, Kitai with less than a pot-sized bet behind.
Wow.
And he hits his 5 on the river.
And if he thought his hand was good before, he's certainly not folding now that he hits his 5. Now there's no way Kitai is folding, because even if he was setting up a play, he obviously didn't believe Chen was that strong. So if Chen bets here, we can expect a call from Kitai.
Do you think Kitai could think that Chen is stronger than a 5?
I think if he thought he was stronger than a 5, he wouldn't be making this play. I mean, unless he's putting him on exactly an 8, but it's going to be really tough on this board to push him off of a queen.
Chen moves all in.
Wow.
This would be much more interesting if he didn't hit his 5.
Well, we saw Kitai make a huge call earlier on.
And that could be part of a level in his head right now. He's thinking, I already picked off a similar spot. How likely is it that he's doing the same thing again? Usually in this spot, they show up with it the next time.
But Kitai immediately goes back into the same stare he showed us earlier, which means he is thinking about something other than folding.
I mean, that was the best card for him in the deck. Doesn't want to let it go after he hits that 5. Andrew Chen is repping a hand basically queen jack or better at this point. But he could have barreled with a big queen. Their stack sizes and their dynamic, that's good enough to put in 3 shells with. Probably puts Kitai on an 8.
How many hero calls does this guy have in him?
This would be another great one if he does end up making it.
And it's for his tournament life, which makes it even crazier.
He really wants to.
We already got to give Kitai a lot of credits for even thinking about calling here, because this is such a massive decision. There's still 80,000 euros left to play for an EPT title, of course. And he's thinking about calling all in here with just a pair of 5s.
I mean, I think he had the feeling his hand was good, and then he pairs his 5. He really doesn't want to let it go. I think he'd love to see that 5 in the river, and then when he faces this all in bet, he really hates it. Shaking his head.
Could he be thinking, if I fold here, what are my how big are my chances to still win this thing after giving Chen the lead?
Right. I mean, what he's thinking right now is if he calls and wins, he has 17 million. But if he folds and loses, he has 5 million. Wow.
He says call.
Called.
Wow.
He says call. He makes another great call. And shows that a pair of 5s, which he rivered, is the best hand.
And a big smile from Kitai there. Wow, what an amazing call.
Regaining a monster chip lead and regaining momentum. Now 16 million for Kitai and 6 million for Chen.
Oh, Chen is so sick. He was actually drawing 3 outs, calls him 2 barrels, being totally dominated.
3 out of me.
But that still was a great call.
Then
Wasn't the best call on the flop in the turn, but on the river, that was another fantastic call.
Wow, 3-1 chip lead now for Kitai, but Chen's had that 3-1 chip lead a couple of times and lost it. Huge swings during this heads-up battle. Maybe Louis White wants to revise his tweet. Says Andrew Chen dominating this heads-up match. No Triple Crown win for the Belgian. Not sure about that.